Okay, here's a little story. I was preparing to show you how my Sencor CRT tube tester worked. And I also promised in the previous, or I should say in the last update of the Sencor repair, that I would use it on an object that I recently acquired. And the object, I think some of you might already guess, is the 2EP4 CRT tube of the Philco Safari I bought recently. Now the story actually is this. When I started to test my Sencor, because okay, I'll admit that I did test it off camera first, I did it according to the book. And the book says, if you look at it, let me show you, use a special socket to test the 2EP4. And I'm sure that if you look closely, yeah, let me see if I can, there. If you look just in the left upper corner from the number 2, you'll see a small star, and the star refers to the remark, use a special socket. Now, I followed this little booklet which is meant to be used with my Sencor CR133, and I connected up the tube to the special socket, the one you see down there. Now, when I started to test the tube using the special socket, I got nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. So I was sort of getting a little bit desperate, because that would mean that the CRT tube is dead, and that would mean that the money I spent on buying the Philco Safari, well, if not completely lost, was at least partially lost. But what do you know? I sort of gathered my courage, and I said, well, you know, I'm not giving up that easily. So I got out my multimeter, which you see here, and I connected it up to one of the other sockets of this measurement of these socket trees, and I followed the instructions used for calibrating the Sencor, and the instructions read like this. It says that, let me see, it says that you should set the filament switch to 6 volts, which I did, and then connect a 5.6 ohm 7 watt resistor between the filament connections, black and brown, on one of the CRT sockets to provide a load. Something I did, but I'll admit I chose one of the big sockets. Don't remember exactly, but I think it was this one. So I did that, and then it says, measure the voltage across the resistor with an accurate AC voltmeter. It should be 6.3 volts. Well, what do you know? I did get 6.3 volts. Now, isn't that a nice little miracle? So I started to put one and one together, and I had another close look at all these sockets here. and I noticed that there was actually an identical socket to the special one, but without the mention special on it. There, you see? There's no word written on it which says it's special. And then I measured at the pins that are supposed to be the filament pins, which are actually the pins 1 and 8. They are the pins that are that surround the key of the CRT tube. By key I mean the extrusion which fits into the slot of a socket. So I measured those pins at this socket here, this one, the not special one, and what do you know, I got filament voltage. So I said, well, heck, you know, if this tube is broken, well, so be it. And I just connected it up to this socket. So let's go through the motions of testing the CRT tube, shall we? Hang on, I better switch on the lights. So the first step to take is to set all the settings right for this type of tube. Now, although they mention that I should use a special socket, and it actually turns out that is not true, absolutely not. So you guys out there who want to test the 2EP4 and you have a Philco CR133, well, you better take a second look at that special socket. Maybe on another Philco CR133 it might be correct, but on mine it certainly isn't. Okay, so I checked on the internet for all these values which you see here. So the filament voltage, the grid 2 voltage, which is supposed to be 300 volts, and the grid bias. And it checks out okay. So I said, okay, let's go ahead. And that's what we'll do together now. So I set the grid bias to between 15 and 25, which is actually 20. I don't know why they say 15 to 25 instead of 20, but I suppose it is because it can vary from tube to tube. So I set that right. Then they say filament voltage should be 6. Now I want to be careful. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit crazy, but I'm not stupid. So I set the filament voltage really low to start with, and I'll raise it, but at most till 5, because it turns out since I changed the capacitors inside my CRT tester, the voltage is slightly higher. So if I set it on 5, it's actually 5.75, and if I set it on 6, it's 6.8. So instead of choosing the 6 setting in the end, I will choose at most the 5 setting. So here we go. Let's test. Let's first set the line adjust. Okay, here we go. So normally I should be capable of setting the meter needle right on that red marker which says line adjust. But for some reason or other I just can't reach it. So I set it to maximum setting so that it nears the line adjust as well as is possible. So that's okay. Next, let's check for shorts. So I'll switch out switch off the light now, and you should have a look at these two lights. If there are shorts, they should either blink or stay on, either one. Okay, so let's have a look. There you go. So neither of the two lights is burning, as you can see. So no shorts. Next, let's go to emission. Remember, I set the filament to 1 volt, which is actually something like 1.2 volts. So let's give it a try, shall we? Here we go. Emission. Okay, nothing. So watch the meter while I gradually increase the filament voltage. So now it's on 1. Let's put it on 2. Not much. Let's see if the filament glows. I can't see any glow. So let's raise the voltage to 3. Actually, that's more like 3.4. The meter is going up. Now it's in the bad range. Now it's in the question mark range. And remember, we're still only at 3 volts, technically speaking. Let's have a look at the filament. And if you look carefully, you can see in the tube a tiny little red glow. I mean, I can see it, but I think you too can see it. Now let's raise the voltage another notch, up to 4. There. Now I'm certain you must see it glow. So let's watch the meter. Yes, the needle is in the good range. Okay, it's not excellent, but it is good. And remember, I'm still only at the setting 4, so for the filament, or in other words, 4 volts. Well, it's actually more like 4.6. So let's go up to 5. That should be around about 5.8. Oh, watch the needle move. Now we are well and good into the good range. So according to the meter, we are now in the perfect range for the CRT tube. And if I show you the filament, well, there. You see? It's glowing cheerily. So what I'll do now is I'll let it burn for, I would say 15 minutes perhaps. And then, well, I'll do a live test. But I'll do a live test now just to show you how it reacts. So it's been burning now for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. Let's give it a go. So I push the live test button. Yeah, the needle drops back rather quickly. So that's not so good. So what I'll do next is I'll let the tube burn slowly, surely, at around 5.8 volts, which is excellent actually, since you'll remember the booklet says the filament voltage should be 6 volts. So 5.8 is okay. And I'll just let the tube burn for a little while, and I'll be back with another update. So stay tuned. The CRT has been burning now for, I would say 20 minutes. And it looks good. I mean, the needle is well into the green. So my guess is the tube mustn't be really too bad. Now, the thing is, when I press on the live test button and you watch the meter, it will stay good for a little while, but then it starts to drop again. As you can see, it drops. So whether that's because the tube hasn't burned in years, or whether that means the tube is spent, I don't know. Or it could be, of course, that my CRT tester just is calibrated differently. I don't know. Now, it might be typical for a 2EP4 tube, but okay, the point of the matter is the tube has no shorts, and the meter says that it's a good tube. So chances are that if I would plug it back into the TV, and well, that is, if the TV would be refurbished and working, that the tube will work. Probably the quality of the image won't be so hot, but it'll work. And in any case, I got the Philco Safari for a reasonable price. So I don't think it was the best quality of Safari I could get. But hey, you know, no complaints. I also want to add, before I finish the video, that, you know, it never, or rather it always pays off to double check certain apparatus, like this CRT tester, for example, especially after you refurbished it. And you shouldn't always believe what certain manuals say and all that. You should always double check and even triple check if you can. Specifically with appliances that use very high voltages and all that, like this appliance does. So, and oh yeah, of course, never give up. That's the best message or lesson I got out of this episode. Never give up. Always check and double check. And you see, it pays off. So, the consequence of this is that I will be making more episodes of the Philco Safari in the hope that I can bring it to life, and then we can try to get an image onto the screen, which of course would be the ultimate goal. So there you are, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back with another update soon. Stay tuned.